I built my first clinic in 1986. That was like, 300 million years ago. And the new thing in 86 was yellow pages. Vets had yellow pages. Wow, what an idea. My God, this is like, 21st century. And then the other big issue was dog food. Should we sell dog food, right? And remember when Hills was the only dog food? Okay, you want to sell dog food, you can sell Hills. There's science diet, or it didn't exist. There was nothing else, on the place. So I built. I don't build. I design. I designed this first clinic. It was 3,300 square feet. Won an award for it. Whoopee. Had 3 exams, and as the bonus, being as dumb as I was, and I haven't gotten tremendously smarter since then, I put the office right off the lobby, so it'd be convenient. Well, you couldn't get into the office without walking through the lobby. Now, do you see anything wrong with that? Well, Dan, my best buddy and drinking buddy at that time, reamed me after the case. I still won the award, and he still was my drinking buddy, but I've never done that before. Since then. I learned my lesson. But that was a long, long time ago. I went on to build up a firm. We built lots of facilities. Probably the apex of my experience was building a 45,000 square foot, 28 exam facility. That was a big sucker, truly big. But it didn't really feel that terribly wonderful to me. It was for a corporation, and that's okay, but I really enjoy working one-on-one with people. You don't get the same kind of quality bonding experience when you're working with a corporate board. I mean, you can't go there and have beers afterwards. And that's a priority for me. So things have changed. We did, my professional experience went like this, and the industry went like this. I've stepped back from it, and I'm now starting over here. And the whole point of this conversation that I'm going to be presenting today is about the starting over and looking at the new situation. So the first clinic I built was about $75 a square foot, okay? I would be hard pressed to build a clinic for less than, say, $250 or $300 a square foot nowadays. A leasehold is running a minimum of about $125. If you want to build a freestanding building, a piece of ground is probably worth $1 million. Yeah, another $1 million on top of that, that's $2 million. This is for a 2,500 square foot clinic. $2 million. How many people can afford $2 million out of their pocket? Raise your hand. I can come talk to you about it, okay? It isn't going to happen. Leaseholds, you'd be hard pressed to do one for a $250,000. That's still a pile of money in my book. That is a chunk of change. Gross income is growing weekly. There's debates on how fast it's growing, but for the most part, it's running in the kind of the 2 to 5% range. It's kind of bouncing around through there, okay? We got a good year, we got 5%, right? And about 2%, that's not really great. That's adequate, but you really can't bank on that. You're not going to be able to make lots of money with that process. I think the bigger question, is client visits are flat. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a practice management consultant. I'm an architect. But I read this stuff, and I see that the industry still is pushing up the average transactions. Okay, that's still going up, but that the client visits are plateauing. Now, from my point of view, that looks really sick. That's not a viable long-term model. You can't do that. You can't just keep on taking more money and while you're scaring people away. Are you getting depressed yet? Graduates don't want to be saddled with the debt. You know, we know what people are looking at there. You know, to get out of school for 150 thou is probably a deal nowadays. What a deal. It's easier to work for a corporation. You know, we heard a few days ago about people getting 120 thou. Well, they're not probably getting 120 thou from your mom and pop clinic. They're going to get 120 thou from Banfield or a VCA or somebody else. And why are they paying them that much money? You know, is it because they feel so good about working for them that they're willing to go to work for them for free? No, they're going to work for them because they're being paid well. Soon, corporate clinics will dominate. You know, you heard Mars picked up, what, 300 or 400 clinics in Europe. They have 1,000 with VCA. They have 1,000 with Banfield. Some people say that the corporations own about 10% of the market. I've heard that they own 1 out of 5 veterinarians. Those are astounding numbers. You know, where is the tipping point? I don't know. And ultimately, things are going to have to change. There's going to have to be a reassessment of the situation. And I think the only place to be is going to be in a small clinic. You know, that's the elephant in the room. This is the thing that we've spent 2 days talking about, how we can change ourselves, we can eliminate conflict, we can be better managers, we can have more fecals. These are all good stuff, but if we don't build a sustainable model for the industry, there won't be fecals. You know, we have to deal with the bigger picture. And if it takes being scared by it, then we need to do that. We can't continue doing what we're doing. I believe that the future of the industry is with small private practices that can grow and prosper in small, distinctive, unique, and well-run practices. Corporations can't be unique. By definition, they can't be unique. That's our opportunity. That's our place to be. And corporations don't want to be small. They don't want the small practice. They want the big dollar. So we have a niche that is sitting there waiting for us to tap into. And if we tap into it, we have the opportunity of doing some pretty neat things for both the industry and for the recent graduates. This is a clinic I did a few years ago, 1,200 square feet. It's in Miami, and at that time it was grossing $2 million. This is about 4 years ago. $2 million 4 years ago was a pretty good number. It's not quite as good today. I'd like to claim that as being, you know, the reason why they made $2 million was because of me. You know, because I designed a wonderful clinic. It was a spectacular clinic. No, it was a perfectly adequate clinic, but it was in the right market, and that was downtown with a bunch of well-heeled millennials. And they tapped into it, and they made a killing, and they're providing a service. Building small guarantees that you are engaged and rewarded. You know, I think the first half of the first day we were talking about how stressed veterinarians are, and we focused on the fact that they have debt. But I think the bigger issue is the reward factor. Do they feel rewarded? My daughter just came back from Chile. She was down there for 2 years. She's a recent graduate. She got one of those really practical degrees, a double major, anthropology and Spanish. Yeah. Yeah. I put her through school. It was my investment. So then she spent time down in Chile. She was helping out there, did some kind of a year of volunteer. Came back. She got hooked up with a vineyard down there and started doing wine stuff. That was pretty cool. And thought, well, hell, she's into the money now. This is going to be good stuff, right? So she came back stateside, and she said, yeah, I'm going to start working, I'm going to be a sommelier. I said, this is cool. I could invest in this. This is a really good idea. The more wine you consume, the more wine I consume, and I'll be very happy. And so she went for got a job up in Fort Collins in a high-end wine shop. And I talked to her yesterday, and she's been there about 4 months. And she's figured out that there's not a lot of reward in selling wine to rich people. I'm inclined to agree. I mean, are you changing the dynamics of our world, selling wine to rich people? She is quitting her job. Maybe she'll go back to Chile, I don't know. But she is going to start working doing canvassing, door to door with the Sierra Club, okay? That's because, I don't know what she's going to do about paying herself, but she's doing this not because she's making a lot of money, but because she has a need for reward. She wants to feel like she's doing something. And I talked to her other buddies, her other graduates, and I would have to guess that 3 out of 4 are working, doing social work or working in low-cost clinics, or, to go out and go get an MBA with the millennial crowd doesn't cut it, you guys. They're not interested in this type of thing. They want something where they can be engaged, where they're doing something that's constructive, where they feel like they're making a difference. And I think a small clinic, a small veterinary clinic, gives you that opportunity. This is something that we can offer graduates. This is something we can offer the industry. And I think it's really important that we do that. The neat things about small is that small fits in little places. And it fits in little places that are urban. And the market that we need is in the inner cities, okay? This is where we can tap into things. So this is where we can build the small oddball clinic that fits in the oddball space. These clinics are important to the graduates. They are important to the industry. They are our ticket to bring veterinarians into the industry. And these small practices are the ticket that fund the specialty referral clinics. Without small clinics, where are the specialty referral clinics going to get their business? So we need to see these practices succeed. We individually have, as consultants, have a need for it. The pet owners have a need because there's more flexibility with small clinics than there is with the corporate people. And the individual vets need this type of opportunity also. So there are ways to build small. I use the word small as an umbrella, but the point here is not necessarily to be small, but to think how you can be effective, how you can spend your money the best way. So how can you build a gem? How can you build a jewel of a practice versus a Taj Mahal? We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to the industry. Years ago, I wrote a book on design, and I did a history of the veterinary industry. The first companion animal clinic was built in 1915 by Joseph Flynn in Kansas City. Okay. When I got into the business, that was 86. That's what, 60 years between the two? I can't do the math, okay? But there was a kind of a straight line process here. I feel like between 86 and 2016, I was very fortunate to ride the apex of veterinary design. It was a wonderful ride, a very exciting thing. But I really feel that now, almost exactly 100 years from the first companion animal clinic that was built, we have an opportunity and a need to redefine what this industry means. And I think one option, and I think this goes back to what Travis was saying, you know, there's got to be more than one option. There's got to be more ideas, but one option I can throw at it is smaller can be better.